Welcome to InformOverload. I'm your host Johnny Rogers, and if you happen to be new here, we take the most interesting news stories on the internet and then make them more entertaining. So to never miss another story, click that subscribe button. Plus, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, we got it all. Twitter, don't forget that. Also, make sure you stay all the way to the end because that's where I handpick some of your comments and read them out. Now, let's get to today's story. Typically, when it comes to catfishing, there is some sort of romantic motivating factor involved. Usually a lonely person online will assume the identity of someone else in order to speak to a potential suitor who they believe is out of their league unless they are pretending to be someone else. However, when it comes to the curious case of Hope Jackson, she took catfishing to a whole new level. Her master manipulation, though, began to unravel in autumn of 2012 at a charity event in Los Angeles. When David Wright bumped into Wipeout host John Henson and introduced himself as a Nightline producer, John quickly pulled him aside to tell David about an interesting story for him. This one story would turn into a year-long investigation of possibly the biggest catfishing scandal yet. Henson had been in a very emotional back-and-forth email exchange with a woman who claimed that her daughter was suffering from neuroblastoma. It's a severe type of childhood cancer that was bound to take her life any day. The emails became more and more personal, with Henson showing David the numerous times he received images of drawings done by this 8-year-old girl named Scarlett. John started to have his doubts though when he asked for the doctor's information, for which the distraught mother was unable to provide. Even with this hole in the center of her story, the mother continued to message the celebrity about how she couldn't imagine someone making something up like this, which should have been a clue that she was making it up. Although with John still being suspicious of the emails he was receiving, he enlisted the help of a private investigator who discovered it was indeed a hoax. Called it. Through the information found in the photos that Hope Jackson had been sending of her supposedly terminally ill daughter, the private investigator discovered that the photos were stolen. The little girl in the photos was indeed sick with neuroblastoma in 2007, but her mother was not Hope Jackson. Hope had stolen the photos from a memorial blog for this little girl and used them as a way to contact celebrities. The curious thing with this catfish was that Jackson never asked for any money, but she had gone through tremendous lengths not to be found out. Some of the metadata in the photos had been altered to show a location point in Mongolia. But thanks to the work of an ABC Nightline investigator, simply adding a negative symbol to the GPS coordinates, they were given the approximate location of Hope Jackson. The emails had been coming from Douglas, Wyoming, also known as the hometown of the jackalope, a jackrabbit with antlers meant to fool city folk. A little bit ironic, but let's continue. Although ABC Nightline host David Wright was not ready to just fly to Wyoming to confront this master of catfishing just yet, he needed to confirm at least some of his suspicions, and to do so he contacted the local police to ask if anyone in the town had been speaking about a terminally ill child. The officer directed David to the county prosecutor, who gave David the name Hope Jackson. From there, a very helpful district court clerk blew this whole story wide open and unveiled just how big this scam really was. Apparently Jackson had been previously arrested for doing the exact same thing but to another giant celebrity. The arresting officer, Kevin Lovewell, said in a statement, "I was contacted by Brad Paisley," "and he advised me that he and his wife had been scammed by a female later identified as Hope Jackson." Brad Paisley, what? The woman had been corresponding with them and said that her daughter was dying of cancer. She led them to believe it was true by sending emails and photographs, the same ones that the Wipeout host had received. Although for Mr. and Mrs. Paisley, things had escalated to the point of speaking on the phone with this little girl, who it's now safe to assume was just Hope Jackson putting on her most childish voice to fool them. Brad even told ABC Nightline that the mother had asked him to sing Amazing Grace over the phone as it was her daughter's dying wish. No, Brad, what are you doing, bro? And while Lovewell had been conducting his investigation, Hope Jackson admitted that she made up the story and stolen the photographs as well. Plus, she also admitted that she had been doing this for at least 4 or 5 years, adding that there were other victims. All of this was never for money, it was more so for attention that she was receiving from some of her favorite celebrities. However, for them, this was nothing more than emotional manipulation. Some of her other famous targets included the band Little Big Town, Grammy winner Mendisa, reality star Kate Gosselin, and Christian recording artist Natalie Grant. All of the emails were nearly identical and always included the diagnosis of neuroblastoma. The ugly truth of this master catfish was that the little girl whose photos she had been benefiting from had actually been diagnosed with neuroblastoma. She had read all of the distraught mother's blog and internalized it as her own story. Then, even after being found out the first time, she wrote to this poor mother apologizing for using her daughter's photos and even saying that she would never do it again. This was all before she even contacted the Paisleys though. Thankfully, this woman was ultimately exposed for her nefarious catfishing, and all celebrities will certainly be doing their homework next time they receive these sort of emails, which it's really sad. You'd hope that with something as serious as this, they shouldn't have to have their guard up. We want to pass the question over to you though. Have you ever been catfished? And if so, please tell us your story down below. We'd love to hear it. And while you ponder that, let's check out some of your comments from the video titled Top 10 YouTubers That Would Be Scary to Live With. Even Better says, I wouldn't stand any of these people in my home. I like Johnny though and every other host on this channel. Good stuff, keep it coming. Sweet, so when are we all moving into your place? Next week? When does this happen? You said you were cool with us. Anthony Jerome Thorne says, every time I hear your name, I think pirate. You're thinking of Jolly Roger. That's my dad. Busy Bee says, I have no interest in any of the YouTubers that appear on these lists. I'm just here for the hosts. I always have a giggle. I laugh so hard at the Shane Dawson one. Well, happy that we can make you laugh today. And the Shane Dawson clip wrecked me. That guy is hilarious. I gotta give him credit for at least that. Still couldn't live with him though. This next name is great. Quality Sweat says, the Ace family better be on this list. I was tempted. I had them on the list, but you know what? I'll give them an honorable mention instead. Ace family, we don't want to live with you either. Aiko says, why do you look like a 50-something person hiding in a cute guy's body? It's really creeping me out. I'm a time traveler who's Benjamin Buttoning. I'm actually 60 years old. Thank you for watching InformOverload, and if you enjoyed this video, then show us some love here by tapping that like and subscribe button. And if you find any news stories that you want us to cover, make sure you send the link in a DM to our Instagram page at InformOverload. And if we like it, you may just see your story on our channel. Plus, for more videos like this one, all you gotta do is click that playlist on the side of our screen. From IO, my name is Johnny Rogers, and until next time, take care.